Welcome back to the channel, guys. Imagine if Matt Goodwin had given an interview to a media outlet that regularly platforms far-right agitators like Nick Griffin. Imagine if he'd been pictured dancing next to a man who once called a Jewish rabbi a kind of animal. Imagine if he had made a campaign video trying to tap into the animus that certain white-skinned bigots feel towards India and her people. We would never have heard the end of it. It would have been on the front page of The Guardian every day. The left would have been hoarse from hollering fascist at him. And yet, Gorton and Denton's new MP, who did do all that stuff, has had a free pass. In fact, she's been giddily housed as the hero of the bourgeois left. Hannah Spencer gave an interview to 5 Pillars, the Taliban-sympathetic media outlet that regularly hosts cosy chats with Griffin about the global position of Zionism. Miss Spencer bopped awkwardly alongside her party's deputy leader, Mothin Ali, who once called in a Leeds-based rabbi who had served in the IDF a kind of animal. And it was Miss Spencer's party that put out a dog-whistling campaign video in Urdu that made a hefty nod and wink to the Hinduphobia of certain Muslim constituencies. The vid showed Keir Starmer shaking hands with the Indian PM. Translation of that is, don't trust this guy, he mingles with dodgy Hindus. Gorton and Denton got me thinking about what gets called bigotry and what does not. Reform UK saying we need to fix our broken borders and prioritise the welfare of the British-born. Bigotry. The Greens rubbing shoulders with Taliban fanboys and religious bigots. Not bigotry. Who makes these rules? The media's failure to grapple with the iffy worldview of the modern Greens is deeply worrying. Because to my mind, what we witnessed in Gorton and Denton was the ascendancy of one of the most troubling ideologies of our time, the Islamo-Left. In this by-election, that unholy, unhappy union of radicalised Muslims and depressed leftists went from being a mad street movement to being a real political force. The Islamo-Left is coming to Parliament. It is undeniable now that the Greens secured their win in Gorton and Denton by exploiting Muslim grievances. Punish Labour for Gaza, they barked at Muslim voters. Isn't Modi just awful, they whispered in Muslim ears. In Urdu, they encouraged the Muslims of this Manchester seat to get out and stick it to the pro-genocide Labour Party and far-right reform. The Greens are the physical, moral embodiment of the Islamo-Left. Under Zach Polanski, they've courted 2 constituencies. First, the graduate elites who hate Brexit and wary of the gammon, and think you can have a penis and be a woman. And second, disgruntled Muslims, that Muslim bloc that votes more in the communal interest than the national interest. The Greens clearly think they can rise to power on the back of the self-pity of the overeducated urban leftists and the religious anger of certain Muslim constituencies. They're formalising the Islamo-Left. That crazy alliance has existed for some time. We've seen it on our streets every weekend since the butchery of 7th of October. Pride celebrating posh kids rubbing shoulders with Islamist homophobes. Blue-haired gender ideologues cozying up to religious bigots who insist women hide their hair beneath black cloth. The moral glue of Israelophobia is pretty much the only thing holding these oddballs together. Now, to be fair to the Greens, this path was paid for them by Labour. Labour has been playing the sectarian game for decades, stirring up Muslim grievances to keep a hold of certain seats. In Gorton and Denton, the Greens simply beat Labour at their own game. They proved themselves more adept at the sinister sport of pork-barreled politics that has become such a pox on our nation. A key requirement of the Islamo-Left ideology is that leftists agree to part their usual concerns about prejudice. So where they're more than happy to shout about the supposed bigotry of parties like Reform, they cravenly sturm about the bigotry that bubbles up from the Islamist creed. They despicably turn a blind eye to Islamists' mistreatment of women, their hatred of homosexuals and their animus towards Jews, so long as these people agree to pack out their ranks and help spirit them into power. Hence Miss Spencer will chat with men who shy away from condemning the most regressive regime on earth, the Taliban. Hence Greens will throw Hindus under the bus for votes. Hence self-styled progressives will look the other way or nod along as the Islamist-minded cheer the anti-Semitic atrocities of 7th of October. It is the most suicidal of unions, the most shameful of alliances, and now it is in the Commons. Thanks for watching, guys. If you want more honest political commentary and don't want to miss what's really happening behind the headlines, hit that subscribe button and drop your thoughts in the comments below.